right, Joe Henry joining us again from Lake of the Woods Tourism to talk about fishing up in northern Minnesota right now. And Joe, sounds like the Rainy River's putting out some fish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're ahead of schedule. We got our boat accesses are open. Usually Birchdale, which is Nelson Park and Birchdale, is about 30 miles to the east of Vedette, and that's normally the first to roll. Well, that's been open for a while, and it goes from Birchdale to Frontier to Vitus, which is by Clemenson. Then it goes Timber Mill Park in Vedette, and now we're all the way 12 miles north of Vedette to the Wheelers Point area where a lot of the resorts are, and that big double boat ramp, that's all opened up as well. We got open water going into 4 Mile Bay, and it's starting to hit the lake. So we're ahead of schedule, no doubt.
How do things change when the water opens up out to the big lake? Because the limits are different out there, right?
Great question. Yes, you're exactly right. So when you're fishing 4 Mile Bay and the Rainy River starting on March 1st, that's a catch and release season only. When you are out on the lake, that season is a keep season until April 14th still. Both seasons go to April 14th through April 14th. But on the 4 Mile Bay and the Rainy River, catch and release only, if that ice goes out and you're out on Lake of the Woods, you can keep fish out there. So consequently, as you can imagine, when people can get out to that lake and hug that ice that's on the lake, they'll get out there just so they can keep walleyes.
And that's just going through the gap, right? If you're coming up the Rainy River?
That's going through the Lighthouse Gap, which is where the Rainy River goes through. You got to understand, for people that don't know the lake real well, the mouth of the Rainy River, it dumps into 4 Mile Bay, and then it kind of goes through 4 Mile Bay, and then it goes through two narrow strips of land. Pine Island is one island on the American side, and Sable Island is an island on the Canadian side. And that Rainy River goes through those two islands. That's called the Lighthouse Gap. A lot of water's moving. It's deep. That's where the charter boats, everybody goes out there, and then you're into the big lake. And that's where you can start fishing walleyes. Now, we also have a gap over at Morris Point also. That's where Bostic Creek comes in, and it goes between two pieces of land. One's Pine Island, one's the mainland. But the same kind of situation, just not as big. But that'll also open up very quickly. So yeah, you got some opportunities there. And I should mention too, the limit of walleyes on Lake of the Woods, if you are fishing the lake, it's a combined limit of 6 fish. Up to 4 of those 6 fish, combined being walleyes and saugers, up to the 4 can be walleyes, and 19 and a half to 28 you must throw back. You can keep 1 fish over 28.
People are catching a lot of fish on the river right now, like big numbers.
They are. And, I'm always careful when I say that because, yes, I've spoken to groups that have caught 100, 200 fish in a 2 or 3 day period. There's some groups that struggle, and I just saw some really good information from Nicole Stone. And she was fishing on the river, and she was having a hard time. And what she ended up doing is going deep. So she started, they were pitching shallow. They thought the fish would be there, caught a couple of fish, caught a big pike. So she went out deeper, and they found their fish in 30 to 34 feet of water. So, you just don't do the same thing, expecting different results. Try some different things. Try deeper water. Try a different stretch of the river. Try maybe pulling cranks instead of jigging. Trying different things until you dial them in. Somebody's going to be catching fish somewhere, and I'm hoping that someone is you.
How about sturgeon?
Sturgeon bite's been on fire, just on fire. A lot of walleye anglers are catching sturgeon accidentally. People that are fishing sturgeon are getting them on the same old sturgeon rig. There's not a ton of current in the river right now. So a 3-ounce no roll sinker with a sturgeon rig, which is about an 18-inch piece of line or leader material, usually 60-pound test, with about a 4-aught or a 5-aught circle hook. And you load that up with either night crawlers or frozen emerald shiners or both. And you fish that into some of the different holes of the river. And there again, too, when you're sturgeon fishing, if you're fishing a certain hole, don't live or die in that one hole. There's a lot of holes in the river, a lot of depressions. Go do a milk run until you find those fish.
And that a lot of guys will go up there after April 14th because you can keep fishing sturgeon up there, right?
You can, yes. Yep, you can fish sturgeon much past that. And, the walleye season closes April 14th. So some of the diehard sturgeon anglers like, let's get those walleye anglers out of here. Then I'll start going sturgeon fishing.
What about the Big Fork and the Little Fork? How are they doing?
So far, not a problem. Every year, for people that aren't familiar with spring fishing, when the Big Fork and Little Fork rivers upstream break open, that can send a bunch of dirty water and trees and branches and everything else down the river, which makes fishing tough until it clears out. And so far, we haven't had any problems with it. And one of the things that's different this year is that the water is much lower, and we don't have nearly as much flow. So it might not end up being a problem this year.
Well, Joe, if people want to get up there, maybe start making plans for a summer trip, or if they want to get up yet this spring, where can they find out more info?
Our Facebook page is a great source of info. It's Lake of the Woods Tourism. Otherwise, check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.